Daisy Link is an inmate who became internationally known for something almost unheard of. She got pregnant while locked up, but before that story ever broke, Daisy was a mother living in Homestead, Florida, sharing a home with her husband, Pedro Jimenez, and their two children. In the early morning hours of June 25th, 2024, just after 3 a.m., neighbors were jolted awake by shouting coming from an alleyway behind the couple's home. They called the cops not just because they were disrespectfully woken up in the middle of the night, but because they heard a loud gunshot. Moments later, the police arrived and witnessed Daisy carrying her bleeding husband, almost dragging him. The Homestead Police Department officers detained Daisy due to her inconsistent statements regarding the incident. The Homestead Fire Department then arrived, pronouncing the 33-year-old Pedro dead at the scene. Investigators immediately noticed something fishy in the incident. Police reviewed phone records, collected physical evidence, and interviewed witnesses. Their investigation revealed a relationship marked by ongoing stress and conflict. Daisy was transported to the Miami-Dade Sheriff's Department headquarters in Doral, where she claimed she acted in self-defense, describing Pedro as abusive. She told detectives she did not intend to kill him, and she only meant to scare him with the handgun she used. The Miami-Dade County Medical Examiner's Office ruled Pedro's death a homicide, confirming he was killed by that gun that Daisy was in possession of. Daisy retained private attorney Antonio Tomas, a defense attorney based in Coral Gables. She was formally charged with second-degree murder by intake prosecutor Ruben Scolavino. This intake prosecutor formed a team of assistant state attorneys to take her on: Alex Berguida, Jennifer De Leon, and Jared Octala. They were the three assigned to prosecute this case. The defense team was later joined by two other private defense attorneys, Richard Gregg and Michael Swinton of Miami. After spending her first night at the Turner Guilford Night Correctional Center, Daisy appeared virtually before the Miami-Dade Circuit Court. In this Zoom hearing, alternate judge Marisa Mendez ordered that she be held in custody awaiting trial without bond. Later that year, after a Florida state criminal probe was reached, the prosecution determined there was not enough evidence to pursue additional charges and elected to proceed solely on the second-degree murder count. Therefore, she would be tried only for that felony. Daisy went on to plead not guilty to the charge before Judge Lodi Jean. While awaiting trial, Daisy's behavior behind bars became an issue. Between 2023 and 2026, she was involved in 6 battery incidents, 5 involving other inmates and 1 involving a guard. Each incident resulted in a separate felony battery charge. Each charge would get its own case. Only one remains active and pending, with public defender Carlos Martinez submitting a not guilty plea to the court. 4 were withdrawn by the Miami-Dade Intake Prosecutors Unit, as they were not worth pursuing given the murder charge, and 1 was closed automatically after no prosecutor agreed to take it on. Intake prosecutor Jessica Aujla has yet to decide whether the remaining battery charge will be dropped. Just days after Pedro's death, the violence surrounding the case escalated further. During Pedro's funeral on June 30th, 2022, at Caballero Funeral Home in the town of Naranja, tensions erupted when the Jimenez family restricted access to the viewing, forcing others to remain outside. Emotions ran high. There had never been such a fight inside this funeral home, and it was so sad to see this chaos. The services had been delayed due to other shootings in the area. The area was already under heightened police presence due to recent shootings in Homestead, in particular one that occurred a month prior in May. That is why there were more officers dispatched in the area during daytime. During the funeral, gunfire broke out at the funeral home's parking lot. Mourners fled in panic. By the following dawn, police discovered the body of Oblin Garcia, a Hispanic male who had been shot in the parking lot where loved ones had been staying since the family of Pedro Jimenez did not let them inside. Pedro's burial was delayed and had to be done later on due to the shooting. To this day, no suspects have been identified nor arrested in connection with that shooting. And right before that shooting, there were two other shootings, both occurring near the Centro Campesino Farmers Market of Homestead. There have been no suspects caught in those shootings either. And in those two shootings that occurred prior, or the three shootings I should say, including the one in May, one person died in each of them. Then came the development that would thrust Daisy Link's name into global headlines. In 2023, while still in custody, Daisy became pregnant. A jail investigation determined that she had been communicating with another inmate through the facility's air vent system. That inmate was identified as Joan De Paz. According to investigators, De Paz passed bodily material, his own sperm, through improvised means using plastic wrap and tied bedding strings together to create a strong rope. Daisy then received this sperm and inseminated herself, putting that between her legs, using her fingers to stick it inside. Against all odds, the pregnancy was successful. The baby was born on June 19th, 2024, at the Jackson Memorial Hospital in Miami. Daisy was transported under guard and restrained during delivery, chained to her bed. DNA testing confirmed Joan De Paz as the father. The baby was born healthy and released into the care of De Paz family, as Daisy's own family was already caring for her two older children. Daisy was afterwards returned to the facility to continue awaiting trial. De Paz himself was awaiting trial on robbery and murder charges. And on Valentine's Day in 2025, he accepted a plea deal, pleading guilty to the charges, receiving a sentence of 25 years in prison, followed by 4 years of probation. The administration at the facility agreed that he was indeed the father of Daisy's baby because he would regularly beat his meat in his cell, and he was often facing his cell's vents as if he was talking to himself, but the whole time he was actually talking to Daisy. He is currently at a Florida state prison, and I will cover his case in a few days. Back in court, Daisy attempted to have her murder charge dismissed under Florida's controversial self-defense law, the Stand Your Ground law. On September 8th, 2025, Judge Lodi Jean denied the motion and ordered that the case go to trial. The trial took place in October 2025. Tension filled the courtroom there was a lot of conflict throughout. On October 15th, Daisy took the stand in her own defense, again claiming long-term domestic abuse and self-defense. The following day, the jury of 6 members and 2 alternates, in a span of 2 hours, returned a guilty verdict. The following month, Judge Jean, after refusing to dismiss the case overall, sentenced Daisy Link to life in prison. And under Florida's law, life in prison means what it means. You will spend the rest of your life locked up, as due to recent changes in statutes regarding Florida's legal system, there is no parole for life sentences. On December 10th, 2025, the defense announced that they would be requesting a new trial. They would first petition to Judge Jean, and then, if necessary, move on to the higher courts. And a few hours ago, on this February 2026, just recently, as I'm recording, it's already midnight, it's already the 6th, but on the 5th day of this February, Judge Jean granted that request, ordering that Daisy's conviction be vacated, and a new trial is yet to be scheduled. As of now, Daisy Link remains incarcerated at the same facility where she became pregnant, awaiting her next trial, with an outcome of her case once again uncertain. And who knows, maybe she will be released on bond within the next few weeks. That is possible. It depends on what the judge decides moving forward. Thank you for listening to this episode of Strawberry Ink True Crime. Please keep supporting the show by subscribing to the YouTube channel, following on iHeart, Spotify, wherever you listen on, and following on socials. The Instagram is Strawberry Network. And I'm sure that if you look on the YouTube channel, you could find the link tree with all of the socials available. Till next time, take care and have a good rest of your day. May those affected rest in peace.